of the Empire State Building.
For today, are we calling this Zedd 100, right? Zedd's in the building. Round of applause for our guy.
Let's go.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm used to seeing you when I'm in the crowd sweaty in Vegas, and I'm just like, get me back there, Zedd, yes.
Hey, you can come with me. I'm leaving in a few hours.
Oh, so wow, amazing.
Jet set life.
We're
man.
so happy that you're here. There's
Thank you for having me.
so much to celebrate.
Yeah.
You've been cocooned
Yes.
working on your baby that is coming out in just a few days.
Yeah.
Your album for the first time in almost a decade.
Yeah. That sounds so weird to even say.
Yeah. Does it feel, I mean, gosh, man, does it feel heavy? Does it feel like a sense of release? Does it feel like anxious? What are some of those emotions, dog?
Not anxious.
Tell us about Telos.
Oh.
Tell us about Telos. I like it. So my emotions are now I feel really happy.
Heck yeah.
Really. Like I don't feel anxious. I don't feel what I felt before with my albums of like I wonder how people will feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
I have no clue how people will feel about it. I've only shared it with musicians and they all love it because it's musically very intense.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't really care how people feel about it because I made this album for me. This is like if you have a hobby, and that's how music should be, and that's how music started for me. I did it not because I got paid. I did it because I wanted to do this, and it was for me. And this album is for me. I worked with the people that I love, that I admire, that inspired me to be the musician I am today. Wow. And that's the greatest thing. I got to work with artists who I literally idolized since I was a kid when I started making music. So, nothing matters when you do it for yourself besides that you're happy.
Yeah.
I can't control anybody else, but I can control how I feel about something. And I made an album that I'm incredibly proud of and that I'm super happy. And I'm more so excited to let the world in on
who you
myself,
are.
because this feels like an autobiography of some sort, musically speaking. And I made an album that I, for a long time, didn't think I could make because it's just been so damn long. And I doubted myself being able to do this and getting back into the mental space you have to be in to create an album that is really powerful and meaningful.
You were so meticulous on how you were in your mental, physical, spiritual state for this album. You had a minute by minute schedule about what you were eating, working out, all the things. Why did you want to be so intentional with that?
It really has to do with, I think you have to feel a certain way internally to channel what has to come out to make something great. At least for me, everybody may be different, but for me, after True Colors, my last album that was nearly a decade ago, I genuinely felt like I had nothing left to say of the length 30 to 50 minutes. Like, I can't give you a movie. I can give you songs and from the middle and stay in 3-minute chunks. I could absolutely channel that. But I didn't have enough to say to make a full-length album. And for me to be in the right space, to go in the studio and be genuinely creative and shut off all the, how are people going to feel about this? That's kind of like an exercise. It's like it's muscle memory. Once you have success, you cannot get that out of your system. It's there forever. Yeah. It's like a drug that will live inside of you. And every time you make a choice on a song, you're always guided internally to go to the direction that everybody will love. I mean, who doesn't want to be loved, right? And when I play a song, of course I want everybody to love it. But it was this conscious effort of, I need to do what I genuinely believe is the right decision musically that is the most Zedd. And I think for me to be in this whole space, I found this balance of, I kind of stopped drinking alcohol for the very most part, with the except, like if my parents came to visit, I'll obviously have a glass of wine, right?
There you go. Yeah.
But on as a normal, as standard, I wouldn't be drinking during my shows, which I've always done my whole life. I've always had a drink on stage or before. I wrote down every single calorie I ate or drank.
Dude.
I have a spreadsheet that I made. I shared it with my friends who are like, hey, I kind of want to do this too. I worked out a lot. I did cardio every single day for a year. I would lift weights.
You ran every day for a year?
Yeah, my trick, and I'll share this because I really think it's a life changer, is I would do elliptical just because it's a little easier on my knees. Gotcha. And I play Hearthstone Battlegrounds on my iPad.
Serious.
Just an amazing game you can play anywhere.
Yeah.
And You can put it on the elliptical, and you kind of like do your thing, and
with it.
you swipe, and you do. And I would just finish the game, and sometimes the game would be like an extra 20 minutes, and then I was already on that thing for like 70 minutes. And
that
time
is a
goes
life
by.
hack, okay.
You forget, like I forgot that I was doing cardio to the point
Yeah.
where I didn't even feel like I did anything.
There's
And it
some
was my
people who
norm.
like do the same thing. They might watch like Real Housewives on the TV in the background. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Yeah.
Selling Sunset.
I
Or, you know what
used
I mean?
to.
But, yeah.
I used to. That's how I started. I would only watch shows when I would do cardio. So the thinking is, you only get your reward when you work for it, right? So I don't watch TV otherwise. But I noticed I would slow down when it was like really tense. I was like, okay, well, it's the opposite of what you're trying to do. When I play my Hearthstone, I'm in it. I'm in it, and I don't slow down at all. So that was my life hack.
Dog.
So you made sure to be like at top
man.
mental and
Yes.
physical in what you
Have to.
ate, so that your product was going to be the best Zedd that you could do for yourself.
Exactly, and I think sleep and health is so critical to be free. So people think like, yeah, I can be hungover and go to the studio and be creative. I really can't. I went so far to, if I had less than 8 hours of sleep, I would not go to the studio at all.
You just chop
and I
that day
really
up,
need
that's
a lot
all.
of sleep. I wake up a lot. Generally, I'm a light sleeper. So typically I'll sleep for between 9 and 10 hours a day, every day, especially in that year. If I had a bad night's sleep, I would not even go to the studio. Besides the last 6 weeks where I would barely sleep because I needed to finish it, and I had my deadline, and I had my goal set, and I would not accept any standard that is any lower than what I set.
Dude.
And I lost a bunch of weight doing that, and not on purpose for that bit. It was just I was so stressed. I would genuinely burn more calories sitting down, not moving, than doing my magical Hearthstone and elliptical combination. But yeah, I think being in a good mental state is so much more important, especially now than ever.
Yeah.
And people forget about the body, and it all feeds. It you need to take care of your sleep, your health, your diet, your well-being, your spiritual state, and then everything else comes from that. When you're in a good mood, when you're well rested, you are just so much more creative.
Dude, man, Zedd, to hear you speak from that place in your heart right now, bro, and to know that that's where this music is. Well, first off, I want to say thank you for dropping these gems on us. Like,
Thank you.
serious, dude. Like, this next project, we can feel the passion just because of the way that you describe it, just knowing that you have challenged yourself to put your best foot forward. How proud are you to know that you were able to do that? I mean, and to be here in this space now.
I'm super proud of myself, honestly, more than I've ever been in my life.
Heck yeah.
And not just because I think I made the best album that I've ever made, but also I'm really proud of myself for sticking to my routine,
There you go.
for doing the things that I wasn't sure I would stick to. I set myself these goals like I'm going to work out every day, and then there's days when you don't feel like it, and then you do it. I mean, I cold plunge every day. I hate it, and I would say the F word. I really hate it. I don't want to say the word here. I really hate it. But every morning I woke up and look at that thing.
Do I have to? Oh,
It's so cold. And I do it. And I start
go.
my day with a success. And I already did something I didn't want to do. And then I work out, and I already did all. And I hate working out. I'm not the one who's like, I love the pump. I don't like anything about it. But starting your day with a success, and you already did something you don't want to do. If you did that, you can go and nail it in the studio.
Yeah.
You know, you already won. So yeah, I'm proud of myself for being able to stick to
Round of
that.
applause for this
yeah,
dude
for
accomplishing
sure.
goals, damn it.
And I loved hearing that you're able to work with people that you've dreamed of working. This
Yeah.
is your dream record. Were you a little nervous to reach out to some people, or were you at the moment where you were thinking, you know what, I think I could do this and we could do this and it would go down?
I was not nervous reaching out to these people, and the longer story is that most of these highly inspirational people to me, I've known them for quite a few years, and I've wanted to work with them, and we've tried to work together. With some, we actually made multiple attempts at certain songs, and luckily, and maybe this is why I am the way I am, is none of these collaborators were like, we need to make this song right now because we're in the studio together and this is our chance. If it's not perfect, we're not going to do it. So we all felt the same way. So it was never like love lost. And with some of them, it was also nearly 8 years, and finally we're like, this is the one.
Now is the time.
We didn't want to put our names together if it wasn't this good.
I think I just saw that, not too long ago you posted on IG with Remi, and it was a little BTS before Lala, and you guys, by the way, crushed it at Lollapalooza with this
Thank
Lucky
you.
record.
Thank
Dude,
you.
seeing the drones and the phone, who knew that you're able to put a phone number and some freaking drones and planes. But anyway, there was a snippet of part of what she had said was like, you know, I've always loved this song. And I gravitated towards that because that leads me to feel that you guys have been just waiting for the right time. And now was it. Why was this the right time for the two of you to bring this song to life?
Well,
Did it just feel right?
The Lucky story dates back to 2019.
Damn.
Yeah.
So it was just sitting on a thumb drive somewhere.
It was one of the first things Remi wrote when she moved to LA.
Yeah.
And I've always loved this song, but to me, I needed context for it, and I knew I wanted to make an album, and I wasn't sure what the album was going to be, so it was sort of this matter of like, I will produce this, but I'm not exactly sure when or what it will be.
Yeah.
And it took a really long time, and Remi didn't actually want to be on the song. She just wrote it and thought somebody else was going to sing it.
Yeah.
And I also have tried other singers on Lucky, which, full circle moment, she has heard some of those and was like, oh, this is not as good as I am.
Yeah.
Which she's completely right. She was by far the best on it. And then we got together in the studio. I played her the album, so she knows the context of what Lucky was in. And I think she really enjoyed it. I played her like 5 songs. And then I was like, okay, so should we work on this verse? Because it didn't have a second verse yet at this point. And she was like, honestly, I just want to hear more of the album. It's like, okay, I'll play the whole thing. And then after we were done listening, she's like, all right, I do want to be a part of it. And then, we wrote the second verse, finished the song, and she is just so damn good and has this youthful, explosive, genuine energy.
Yeah.
I mean, she really makes the song. And do you guys know that meme where like somebody's like crying, but there's a mask in front of it that's like pretending to be okay? That was me all along when another singer was unlucky. I was like, yes, this song's good, right? And I felt, and it was, but inside I knew how much better it was with Remi on it. So
it gets to everything that you said thus far in the conversation is the timing was right. It was meant to be. It was all the things aligning. It was you all, being in that space now, your best, heart and self forward, her being ready to listen and being confident enough to say, I like it, but I think I'm a little bit better, and to step up to the plate and to know that you guys collectively can hit a home run. It makes sense, dude.
And everything came together for this album. It's really the timing of, there was this like stretch of 4 weeks where everything just fell into place. One collaborator jumped on, another one heard about that collaborator, was like, oh, I want to be a part of this. And then all of a sudden, I created this super group of these amazing musicians that I love so much, and they all wanted to be a part of as many songs as they could. Yeah. So some people would play certain instruments on multiple songs and still are. So everybody's all over the place on this album.
Is this like a group chat that you have on your phone? That
I really should at this point. I really should at this point.
Avengers? Avengers with a Z on the end? Let's go!
On Zedd 100.
There we go.
Zedd 100.
I really feel this way. Like, this is a group collaborative album.
It is.
I know it's a Zedd album, but I really, especially because I got to work with the people I love so much, and I've done so many sessions, and I usually like working alone. I don't really like being in the room with other artists as much as I like to just be in my zone, because I feel naked when I work. Like, that's the best comparison I can make. When I'm just improvising and going through 200 shitty sounds until I found the one that I really like, I feel naked and exposed. So I like being alone. I like being in my cocoon. More than ever, I've worked with people together on this album, and I felt great because I love those people. It felt so good. Everything came together, and I'm just really proud of the result of it. And whoever is willing to listen to it front to back, that's the one thing that's the only thing you can hate it, but at least listen to it front to back, because I think I created something that, I mean, this, like, music went a little bit away from albums and moved closer to
singles. What's gonna stream
singles,
real quick,
or
boom, bop, boom.
Let's put 25 songs on an album because one of them is going to make a playlist, right? I only put 10 songs on my album because those made perfect sense, and I cut everything that didn't have a real reason to be on the album, and they flow into one another. It feels like you're watching a movie. It also feels like a theater play a little bit. It definitely has a little Queen theatrics to it. It's just awesome.
That's
it's
very
different.
much who you are. That's very much who you are. You're a composer. I think a lot of people misconstrue the idea of being behind the decks, being in the studio creating. You're a composer, bro, and we've said this so many times before in conversations, man, and it's about creating a body of work.
And it's cool that you gave us a snippets of it, because I hit 1-800 your
You
number.
did?
I did, of course
Oh,
I did.
yes.
I heard how you gave us 2 minutes of snippets, and it goes up and down. You hear different sounds. You give us some pop, you give us synthy, you give us a little bit of rock kind of in there too.
Yep.
So where did you grab these inspirations from?
Well, like I previously mentioned, Telos is like an autobiography of some sort, right? There is a lot of classical stuff. I reworked my favorite classical piece in a modern way. This is how I started. I was in a rock band for quite a few years. I was a drummer, so there's some rock elements. One of my favorite albums has an orchestra throughout the entire rock album. It's this mixture between genres, so I got inspired and I attempted the same thing, to have an orchestra weave together this entire album. And obviously, you know my electronic side. So everything that you heard on that number that you called is bits and pieces of my life.
Yeah. And I
They're
mean,
all-
obviously, the past couple of handful of years, almost a decade, like we said, there's some chaos in there because the world was in chaos. There's there's some elements of relaxation because we're coming out of it and we're feeling love and camaraderie. And then when it all explosively comes to life in front of fans, like you guys gave us a little bit again to go back to Lala and getting ready to hit the road even more, man. I mean, it's just that celebration of not just life, but of you in your life. And that's why folks are leaving your shows, EDM shows, not only just sweating, but crying, dude.
Yeah,
You know
I mean,
what
that's the
That's
best
special.
compliment. Yeah, that's the best compliment I have to say. Just generally, musically, I love to live in this in-between realm of not sure how to feel.
Yeah.
Like, am I emotionally happy or am I crying? Somewhere between. That's my sweet spot. I like this suspense of emotion that people can. How you feel today is how this song should make you feel today, and tomorrow might make you feel differently. I think especially this album is a roller coaster of emotion and genre, and it just really takes you on a little bit of a journey.
Can I tell you about what the journey I'm at right now, though? Not to
Please.
shift really oddly, is the emotional roller coaster I'm on is not being able to know that I can go to Zedd's house and find the Lego installation any longer. That's an emotional roller coaster I think that the world is on.
It is.
Man.
Yeah, that was meant for this specific place, and I didn't want to take it with me. It was a conversation before I ever put it in. Is like, if I leave, can I take this thing with me?
Like
and
a
I
Banksy
can.
piece of art
And
attached to a
couldn't-
building.
They wouldn't
No,
let
they
you.
can. They can. It's
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
genuinely, it was built in Miami.
Okay,
And
okay.
it was crated over, and it's like basically we chipped open the wall, we stuffed it in, and put the wall back around it. It can be taken out, but it was meant for this place.
Yeah.
And I hope it's still there. I hope so. There's so much fun stuff in there. I really hope it's there.
Emotional roller coaster, bro.
It is.
It's an emotional
It was
roller
there
coaster.
at the right time, and
That's
times
it.
have changed.
That's it. That's exactly it.
You know?
And that's how it all comes full circle.
I definitely want to talk about the tour.
Yeah.
We're talking about how you're so into it with the lights and the graphics and making sure that everyone that pulls up is going to be satisfied with what they see. And
Yeah.
so how has that process been preparing for your tour coming up?
So I'm in the middle of tour prep, and for the ones who don't know how that works, it's long days staring at a screen.
Because some people think that DJs are just there pushing
No.
buttons at
Well,
events. So.
like on stage, I am just playing the music. I have nothing to do with the lights, but what we do beforehand for weeks and weeks is that when I play a certain song, it also triggers a sequence of lights and visuals and lasers and all these things. So we need to sort of figure out where in the set am I going to play a song, because I can't, for example, play a song that has an element of production that isn't yet revealed.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to just reveal everything. You want to sort of stagger it and make sure that same way you take the audience on a journey. So you have to start prepping it, and I genuinely don't even know my set yet. As we're speaking, I know these songs I want to play, but I don't know how I'm going to play them or if I'm going to edit them a little bit. So we're in the middle of essentially creating the whole show. We know the production. We know what we're going to show the world, but
Yeah.
we don't know how we're going to do it. So we got, a few weeks of staring at screens for 14 hours a day and creating amazing moments that give us goosebumps on tiny speakers in front of a virtual screen.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to actually be out there and share this. I've been sitting on a lot of this music because some of these songs are 4 years old. Out of time. I started writing 9.5 years ago.
Wow.
It's a long one.
Wow.
And I've made it into an intro, so you can find videos online of the same chord progression. It used to be an intro for a few years of mine, and I've always known that this song is so good and I will make it into a song, but it was too good for the time. It was too theatrical and too cinematic and too classical for the music I was making at the time.
Yeah.
So,
It didn't fit where you were in your heart.
exactly. And now it was like, oh, everything is making sense.
Yeah.
Like now I have a body of work that is centered around musicality and about my past and about my, classical influences. So it was like, finally, I can make that song.
Let me ask Zedd, like, what are the lotto numbers for tomorrow, since you know how to predict the future, bro?
Honestly,
You know what I mean?
maybe I'll write some down and we share it if you win.
Hey!
I'm with it, man.
Did you ask any of your friends on the album if they would come on tour, maybe make some appearances?
I have.
Yes.
I have. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't want to I don't want to spoil anything, but I have to answer your question. Yes, I have.
You know what I'm saying? The bribery always works. $2.
Okay, so on the first show, we got. Oh, nice. I think I got some in my
lucky.
pocket.
You
Yeah.
got $2 holler. We got there. It is $2 holler.
Wait, you have two of them. How did that happen?
Well, because one is for you and two to pass forward.
Stop.
Yeah,
That's
there
so
we
nice.
go, man. Yeah.
That was a genuine $2 exchange right
It
there.
really
Whoa.
was. Yeah, man. Shout out $2, Steve. Man. We tried, man. We tried. Dude, this friendship is one that has withstood so many years together with the three of us, man. With you to be on this journey of growth and to find where you are right now and to present here coming up on the 30th. This amazing chapter of the Zedd anthology, man. Just thank you for putting your heart, your soul, and being patient
Thank you.
with the music and not rushing the process to bring us to this space
And giving love
right
to
now.
New York City. We're so excited about what you're going to do here, this
Yeah.
bodega partnership with Five Guys.
It's gonna be fun.
I know. I'm over here looking at the eggs, trying to figure out where it's going to be because I know you're doing something really cool.
It might take another couple $2 bills.
I know
to
anyone
tell you
else, and I don't have pockets today. But what a fun concept!
Yeah.
because we're chatting about how you always push the envelope with what you do. I mean, you're at Lala and you're bringing out hundreds of drones.
Yeah, that
You're
was fun.
letting everyone listen to your music just by picking up a phone, and now you're doing something special for your hardcore fans.
Mm-hmm.
The most New York thing to have it at a pop-up bodega
Yeah.
for free.
Yeah.
What makes you always want to push the envelope like that and do different things?
Well, I think the most important thing, and I've been making music the very vast majority of my life, is kind of how we said earlier. It has to be genuine, and it has to be fun, and it has to come from the heart. Inevitably, if you do the same thing for too long, it's going to start feeling like work, and you forget about the emotions that I had when I was making music to begin with, which was just because I really wanted to. And so I think it's always important to reinvent yourself. I think as advice to maybe new artists, I know the trap that you can easily fall into of like, you have a little bit of success with one thing, let me just do this over and over, especially with social media sort of almost pushing you to, hey, you should do the content that works as much as possible. Quantity. One thing to not forget is that algorithms change. You shouldn't chase whatever that is in the moment. Zoom out 20 years. Think about like, who do you want to be in 20 years? Like, where's your heart? What do you actually want to do? And that's been my approach to life and music is I'm not going to follow these trends. And yeah, there's going to be 5-6 years where maybe you're not in favor of the algorithm and what you're doing is not what people really want. But once trends change, people zoom out and they look at it and like, well, damn, he did remain himself.
Yep.
He is genuine. There's much more to it. And it's just real substance, you know? I'm trying to stay excited with everything I do. Playing in front of like 50 people is how I started. I don't get to do this very often, and physically it doesn't really work that way anymore, right?
Yeah,
It's usually going to be more than 50 people. So I love the idea of doing something that's going to be so fun.
I know,
I get
I
to
can't
play a
wait.
different set. You know, I get to experience different emotions. So just doing things that are genuine and fun is a great recipe for joy, and joy is the goal of life.
Man, can we clip that part right there, please? That needs to be on one of those success posters, like with the baby hanging on. You know what I'm saying? No, listen, dead ass, bro. That's everything that you just said right there is why we are sitting in this space here. Because since the very first time that we all hung out, and it is just you being genuinely you. And that's why, like, we joke around, but that's why when we see the Z on the logos here, it really does embody who Zedd is, because that's what that
thank you.
Z is for us. It is just
Oh,
that genuine.
that's so
It's
sweet.
what we do and what we love to do here. So to
Thank
you,
you.
caps off, bro. always an open door policy. Like seriously, and there will be
I
some more
appreciate
$2 bills. If that's the name of that bodega. Not
Well, I'm
even
coming
gonna
back.
lie,
I'm coming
dog.
back.
Oh,
For
thank
real.
you.
For real, man.
We
He's
cannot
that
wait
guy.
for the album. Congratulations. Thank you for putting your everything into it just for us.
It's my pleasure.
And we can't wait to see the bodega show you have popping up
Yep.
too.
Yep.
And we can't wait to have you back here.
One
I
more
will
time.
come back.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yes.
From the top of the Empire State Building